Markets under severe selling pressure once again as we start the week. Nifty breaks below the major support level of 20 weekly moving average. Mid-caps and small-cap indices trade down 1.5 to 2%. Declines outnumber advances at 5:1.
Fed Chair Jerome Powell reveals Department of Justice threats of a criminal indictment linked to Senate testimony on Fed renovation. Chair Powell calls it unprecedented and political. This raises concerns over Fed independence.
Life insurance industry total APE grew strong in December at 26%, led by private sector growing at 21% and continued recovery for LIC, which grew at 38%. For the third quarter, this means total industry APE grew at 23%. Traction in protection products since GST changes has helped companies post strong growth.
Vishal Mahadevia, Managing Director and Head of Asia Private Equity for Warburg Pincus, tells CNBC-TV18 that the PE giant is very positive financial services businesses, consumer companies climbing the premiumization ladder and thematically like import substitution and those firms solving for affordability across sectors. Warburg's latest bet has been into Lemon Tree Hotel, where it is putting 960 crore rupees as primary capital into Floor.
Hello and welcome to Halftime Report live from the CNBC-TV18 Motilal Oswal studio. I'm Ekta Patra and with me is Sonal Bhutra as well as Vinny Motiwala. Well, it is turning out to be a Monday where we are seeing pressured markets on our hands. Last week we ended weak and we're continuing in terms of the losses that we are seeing at this point in time. As you can see on your screen, just a handful of stocks which are trading in the green within the Nifty space. Currently down around 0.6% currently for the Nifty, down around 170 odd points. We've slipped below the 20-day moving average of around 26,000 for the Nifty. In fact, broken 25,500 on an intraday basis. Mild recovery from those levels. And what also stands out is that the India VIX has spiked up around 7% in today's trading session, indicating the kind of volatility that the street is anticipating. The advanced decline ratio extremely dismal in today's trading session. So 1:3 is currently where the advanced decline ratio stands. As you can see, the gap has not widened as the day has gone on. So there's a huge difference in terms of the advances and the declines today. Overall, the fabric of the market looks extremely weak at this point, with the mid-caps under pressure, underperforming the Nifty at this point.
Hey girls, and you said a Monday, it's a manic Monday for the bulls for sure. We have only 11 stocks in the Nifty which are in the green, the rest are in the red. A wee bit of recovery from those levels, but again, we have seen all of those selling points seeing further pressure, or the dips which are bought into, seeing further pressure from the highs of the day as well. The sole sector in the green today is Nifty Metals, and so far this year itself, if we talk about the Nifty, it is already down 2.5%. We have the Nifty mid-cap index, which is down 2.5%, and we've been trading for just like 8 days this year. So already big fall coming in across segments. For now, again, mid-caps are also attempting some recovery, but whether that continues or not remains to be seen. Very crucial point for the markets. Advanced decline ratio has actually worsened from 1:5. Now it's closer to that 6 level. Big declines coming in.
Big declines coming in. Good afternoon, ladies. And obviously, out of those 8 trading days that you're talking about, 6 of them were in the red for the Nifty. So 6 consecutive day of fall that we're seeing coming in for the Nifty 50. And in terms of top drags today, look at the big names that have come in. We have Reliance that's seeing a big fall. We are seeing L&T. We have the IT names that are not doing well. So Infosys is also among the top drags that are there for the Nifty 50. HDFC Bank and M&M among the top drags there as well. And obviously, top pressure is coming in from Realty, Auto, Pharma, as well as media names also under pressure today. But yes, that's the market setup for you all right now. But we have Vivek who's joining us to take us through all those big movers in today's trading session as well. Good afternoon, Vivek. Over to you.
Well, thank you so much for that. As you all encapsulated so well, the kind of weakness that we're seeing in the broad end of the markets, we struggle to find any stocks that were moving. However, a few names, mainly on the back of news flow and some volume-backed action in terms of the stock that gained, but quite a lot of laggards, as you can imagine. Linde India, one of the stocks in the broad end of the market, the top NSE 500 gainer on decent volumes higher today. Coal India, that particular stock, the top Nifty gainer subsidiary, remember, is undergoing an IPO, and 3 other subsidiaries also on track for going ahead and seeing some amount of value unlocking. Manappuram Finance down almost 8.5% on Friday. A clarification to the exchanges, a bit of a bounce back, almost 3% higher. And BSE, the top mid-cap gainer. Remember, exchange volumes have been quite strong, especially at the start of 2026. On the other hand, a whole host of stocks, whole host of sectors under significant pressure. It's a muted set of numbers, especially when looking at the export data in the month gone by. And on the back of that, look at pharma. Most of the pharma names under significant pressure. Loris, Ipca, Granules, Natco, Divi's, PPL Pharma, all of these names under significant selling pressure today. Loris down over 5%. The entire Realty pack, some amount of caution coming in from Signature Global led to a bit of a sell-off. Have a look at names like Signature, Prestige, Oberoi, all of these names under significant pressure. The entire capital goods space.
Okay.
All right.
All right, Vivek. Thank you. We will be coming back to you in just a bit, but those are some visuals coming in, important ones, because that's the US ambassador to India, Mr. Sergio Gore, who is addressing the press. And of course, we'll keep getting those visuals for you as well. Very important at this point in time when we are discussing so much about US-India trade deal, the possibility and the post coming in from the US president earlier this week or the last week that there could be 500% tariff on India if Russian crude oil imports continue. And there have been a lot of conversations as well, a lot of commentary coming in from the Commerce Minister or the Commerce Secretary of the US on what happened between India and the US as far as the trade talks are concerned. So we will be getting all those updates, and we are just awaiting any sort of press conference that will be taking place now.
Well, yes, it's going to be important, but all of the comments which have come in from the US ambassador as of now have been positive. He has said that there are incredible opportunities for both of the two nations going forward. So maybe there will be some amount of green in terms of the US-India relations. But nonetheless, as of now, we will wait by for more comments. First, the agenda seems to be that he will be addressing and meeting his embassy officials, the US embassy officials, before addressing the press as well as the embassy staff. So that's Sergio Gore right there, the visuals coming through of him taking office as the US ambassador to India. So those are the visuals which are coming in. Let's see what it holds. As of now, the comments have been pretty much positive
also,
in terms of... Yep.
Trump had also made a comment before him coming here for Sergio as well. Seems like his, work is already cut out, because Trump had said that, he's trusting Sergio to help strengthen both the countries' ties as well. He wants to focus on that as well. Okay, let's listen to it. He's going to be speaking now to the press.
Good morning, Mission India. Namaste to everyone who's watching from home. It is great to be here as the United States Ambassador. I come to this remarkable nation with profound respect and with a clear mission to take the partnership between our two great nations to the next level. This is the intersection of the world's oldest democracy and the world's largest democracy. My first visit to India was in 2013, and it left an impression on me unlike any other place. I remember visiting some of the incredible places this nation has. Of course, the Taj Mahal, Jaipur, Ranthambore. We even went up to Punjab and many other places. The friendly people, the colors, the incredible history, the innovation, and the spirit that I met on that trip over a decade ago, I've never forgotten. And I've always wanted to come back. And what an incredible way to be back in this incredible nation as your next US ambassador. When President Trump asked me to come here, I was thrilled. I remember, President Trump remembers his last visit here. I was with the president last week, and as we had dinner right after New Year's, he recounted his incredible experience visiting here, and also his great friendship with the great Prime Minister of India, Prime Minister Modi. I also hope that the president will be visiting us soon, hopefully in the next year or two. I want to thank President Trump for once again putting his trust and confidence in me. I consider the president a dear friend. America has never had a commander-in-chief like President Trump. When I first got this position, somebody at the White House asked me, how are you going to keep in touch with the president? And the interesting thing is that a lot of people don't know is the president has a habit of calling you at 2 in the morning. And so with the time difference in New Delhi, it might actually work out pretty well. The president outworked all of us at the White House, and I hope that we'll be able to keep up with his pace and his expectations. When President Trump was elected in 2024, he asked me to be the director of the Office of Presidential Personnel. That meant hiring thousands of individuals across our entire federal government, from US attorneys to ambassadors, and every political hire across every department in the United States government, including the State Department. In our first year, we broke every record and filled over 95% of those positions. So in this new year, I once again thank President Donald Trump for putting his trust in me in what is a very important relationship for both of our nations. I spoke with President Trump just yesterday, and I bring his warm wishes to all the people of India, especially his dear friend, the incredible Prime Minister, His Excellency, Prime Minister Modi. As many of you might have heard, the President is quite busy, not only around the world, but also redecorating and renovating Washington, D.C. And when I spoke to the President, I shared with him that I had just driven past the beautiful India Gate. The President has embarked on building a ballroom at the White House, but one of the additional projects that's on his list is building something similar to the Arc de Triomphe in Paris. And no offense to the French, but I think what we have here in Delhi might have even surpassed that. I've traveled all over the world with President Trump, and I can attest that his friendship with Prime Minister Modi is real. The United States and India are bound not just by shared interest, but by a relationship anchored at the highest levels. Real friends can disagree, but always resolve their differences in the end. Last week, our great Secretary of State, Marco Rubio, powerfully stated that this year will be a year of reciprocity. We are raising the standard for diplomacy itself. That means fair trade, mutual respect, and shared security. Many of you have asked me for an update on the ongoing trade deal negotiations. Both sides continue to actively engage. In fact, the next call on trade will occur tomorrow. Remember, India is the world's largest nation, so it's not an easy task to get this across the finish line, but we are determined to get there. And while trade is very important for our relationship, we will continue to work closely together on other very important areas, such as security, counterterrorism, energy, technology, education, and health. I also want to share with you today a new initiative that the United States launched just last month called Pax Silica. Pax Silica is a US-led strategic initiative to build a secure, prosperous, and innovation-driven silicon supply chain, from critical minerals and energy inputs to advanced manufacturing, semiconductors, AI development, and logistics. Nations that joined last month include Japan, South Korea, the United Kingdom, and Israel. Today, I'm pleased to announce that India will be invited to join this group of nations as a full member next month. As the world adopts new technology, it is essential that India and the United States work hand in hand from the very start of this initiative. I thank the people of India for a very warm welcome. You are resilient people. You're innovative. You are spiritual. I look forward to meeting many of you as I travel across this incredible nation. To the staff here at the embassy, I'm excited to work with you. You and I have an incredible once-in-a-lifetime opportunity to redefine diplomacy, what it can accomplish. What it can accomplish could be the most consequential global partnership of this century. No partner is more essential than India. In the months and years ahead, it is my goal as ambassador to pursue a very ambitious agenda. We will do this as true strategic partners, each bringing strength, respect, and leadership to the table. Thank you, and may God bless the enduring friendship between our two nations.
Okay. Okay, all right. Important comments coming in from Sergio Gore. A lot of them are making markets react to that as well. There's a big recovery on the Nifty from the lows of the day as well. And that is the most important thing because there is a call on trade talks tomorrow. He's spoken about how India and US continue to remain important partners, how President Trump and Prime Minister Modi are great friends. And he also adds that real friends can have differences, but they can be resolved later. And how India being a big country, so the trade talks are taking longer than what they had anticipated, or the fact that it would take longer. But at the end of the day, they would reach a deal or a number on the deal as well. The most important part, that there will be a call on trade deal tomorrow. And on the back of that, there's a sharp recovery in the markets from the lows of the day as well.
I think it is the comments which, they have been engaging actively over many weeks and months in terms of what they could do with regards to the trade deal. So more than, yes, having that call tomorrow, it is the positive commentary which also came out from Sergio Gore in terms of the kind of relationship that India and the US share. So what he did indicate, and that's possibly when the market started recovering, is that both sides continue to actively engage, and the next call on the trade talks will take place tomorrow. That India is one of the biggest countries. It takes time to reach a conclusion, and that, they do have this long-standing friendship. They do have a relationship which goes beyond the trade deal. They will be looking at other issues such as security, counterterrorism, education, health. And that is exactly what the markets have taken away from that yes, there will be a conclusion to a trade deal, that we do have a relationship with the US which is much stronger, and that we will come to a conclusion when it comes to the trade deal. As you can see, there is a significant recovery which has taken place in the markets. For example, the Nifty is now at around 25,607. It's recovered back to the 20-day moving average just in the past couple of minutes. And we have the Bank Nifty, which is just about lower by around 0.2%. The mid-cap index, when we started the show, was down around 1.3%. To put it into perspective, it is down only 0.6% now. So there's a significant recovery which has taken place in terms of the mid-caps as well. The advanced decline ratio should come up for you because it's sub 1:3 now. Maybe there's a little bit of a narrowing which has taken place in terms of the advanced decline ratio, as you can see on your screen. So positive comments which have come in from Sergio Gore, the US ambassador to India, indicating that yes, there will be some amount of conversations. There is a trade conversation which will take place tomorrow, and there will be some amount of conclusion which will eventually be reached between the two nations. That is something that you can possibly, take away from the comments. Overall, his comments towards India and the relationship that the US and India share was extremely positive and strong, and spoke much beyond just the trade issues that the two countries are facing.
But they've been speaking about the relationship being strong always, but the point about trade is something that I think
trade, real friends, and all the comments that you all highlighted as well. Next call tomorrow, we'll keep an eye out on that. But on that note, we're going to slip into a very short break. A quick note for our viewers: get ready for CNBC TV18's all-new lineup starting today. Incisive analysis, sharp commentary with CNBC TV18's brand new offering. Watch our new segment, Cut the Balance Sheet, with Mangalam and Sonal Bhutra, as well as watch Macro Signals with Ritu Singh, that isolates the macro forces that actually matter for the day. And finally, stay ahead of the curve with CNBC TV18's most trusted in-house technical experts.
Welcome back. Well, it's a handsome recovery, you would have to say, for the market. So the Nifty is just about lower by around 40-odd points as we speak. The Bank Nifty is also recovered into the green, and you can see that spike up coming in through on an intraday basis, along with the advanced decline ratio, with just about 1,130 stocks advancing to around 3,000 stocks declining. Now, to put that into perspective, when we started the show, there were around 950 stocks which were advancing only. So there has been a significant pickup which has taken place in the overall fabric of the markets. To talk more about, the Gore's comments, which just came through, the US ambassador's comments to India, Prashant joins in. Prashant, you were listening outside, and more interestingly, you've been having conversations with regards to how important Gore could be for India.
Yeah, I mean, the reason he's important, Ekta, is not because he's the ambassador designate to India, a US ambassador designate, but because he is part of President Trump's inner circle. I mean, he's not a career diplomat. So he doesn't come from that service line. He's someone who's seen as having President Trump's, ear on various matters. I mean, he's seen as someone who can cut through the bureaucracy and kind of sort of directly get President Trump. And I think, as we know, President Trump, and that's what matters, right? I mean, he's got his unique way of working. He posts on social media, and it's obviously been very, very volatile because of that. But I mean, that is essentially who President Trump has been. So when you have someone who's close to him in India as the ambassador, who can get India's viewpoints across to President Trump, and I think it makes a world of a difference. I've been sort of highlighting Sergio Gore's arrival since last Thursday and why that could be important. Actually, I was highlighting two things. One was the US, the Supreme Court, and what they would do to tariffs. I mean, that was no news because nothing happened. The other one was, of course, Mr. Gore's arrival here in India, which, at least for now, is making a bit of a difference. I mean, he's, of course, saying the obvious things. He's come to India to take charge as the ambassador. So he's obviously going to say a lot of things which will be sort of, about repairing relationship between India and the US, about how India is very important strategically, etc. But he's also obviously taking charge at a time. I mean, just remember, he came to India on a flash visit. He met Prime Minister Modi, etc. I think it was in September or October. And he'd not take, so it was just like a in and out kind of a visit. Situation was very different. I mean, it has actually become worse since then. People have kind of lost hope in terms of when this deal will happen, etc., etc. So the timing of the visit, when sentiment is pretty bad, people are kind of sort of saying in serious long-term money managers. I mean, I spoke with someone who said, well, I'd be happy if we see a deal this year in 2026, calendar 2026. So when sentiment is so bad and you have someone like this who comes in and talks about the fact that, well, we want to, and the graphics in terms of what he said is all up there. I mean, if possible, we'll play out some sound bites, etc. as well. It makes a world of a difference. So we will, just want to, I know Parikshit, so I'll go across to Parikshit in just a bit. So yeah, that's the bit. I just want to quickly take a look at what the Sensex is doing. Nifty is down about 25 points. Sensex is down about 0.25. So it's a massive recovery.
Yeah.
If you look at I was just looking at the 26,000 weekly with the call option which expires tomorrow on the NSE. I think that is seen a swing of some 120-odd%. So it's just quite incredible how. So it also tells you that sentiment is the problem point, right? Which has been very, very poor. Let's actually bring in Parikshit, who's with us, right? He was there listening to Mr. Gore. He was in that room when those comments were made. Parikshit, yes, what was the mood like? I mean, sentiment certainly perked up here in stock markets, I can tell you. But tell us, what was it like there?
Well, it is positive, isn't it? He is the envoy not just for India, but he will be the U.S. envoy for Southeast Asia and key countries here as well. So having an ambassador, a diplomat like that in New Delhi gives the government a lot of access to a person who's been actually directly selected by the U.S. president to head the mission in India. And he comes at a difficult time, and he knows that as well. He was clear to say that, yes, trade negotiations assume priority in talks. This government is all about seeking reciprocity in relationships. And the next set of trade talks will happen tomorrow. So he would like to deliver some sort of win for the president, is the sense that we get. They will be, of course, negotiating a trade deal very hard. Maybe they would ask for more market access in more issues, is something that we have been picking up from sources in Washington, D.C. A good point here is the fact that the Pax Silica alliance, which many in India were taken aback when it was announced and India was not invited to it, Sergio Gore actually announced and said that India will be invited to join this alliance in the next few weeks. So it's a very important alliance for critical minerals, for supply chains, for artificial intelligence, critical components as well. So that will be something to look out for. He said that this relationship is anchored with the friendship and closeness between the leaders at the highest level. So he clearly tried to put the mood right. And you can imagine what he's bringing to the table, because when he arrived with the embassy, he arrived with much fanfare. We were told by the embassy staff that all the songs that played to welcome him, all of them had been personally chosen by him as well. In a break from Prast, he's already met the Prime Minister of India, even before presenting his credentials. Even the speech that he made, he spoke for about 10 minutes. He has not presented his credentials to the President of India so far. So even this is a break from Prast. So he's being treated very differently. We believe that his ceremony at Rashtrapati Bhavan, where he officially meets the President of India, presents his credentials and takes over as ambassador, that could happen any day now. It could happen this week itself. And usually such ceremonies take about a few weeks for ambassadors of other countries. So India would definitely like to speed up things for him to make sure that they can start discussing things with him, they can bring him to the table as fast as possible.
We're trying to get some reactions as well, Parikshit. Stay on the line. What we'll also do is play those sound bites out. Sergio Gord, listen.
The United States and India are bound not just by shared interest, but by a relationship anchored at the highest levels. Real friends can disagree, but always resolve their differences in the end. Last week, our great Secretary of State, Marco Rubio, powerfully stated that this year will be a year of reciprocity. We are raising the standard for diplomacy itself. That means fair trade, mutual respect, and shared security. Many of you have asked me for an update on the ongoing trade deal negotiations. Both sides continue to actively engage. In fact, the next call on trade will occur tomorrow. Remember, India is the world's largest nation, so it's not an easy task to get this across the finish line, but we are determined to get there.
Okay, those are some important comments coming in, and of course that is what the stock market has reacted to as well. Prashant, let me get you in again, because this is a conversation about a trade talk tomorrow, but that doesn't mean the deal is in place, and the markets are just reacting to that. So what do you make of that?
No, absolutely, and I think so. No one is expecting a trade deal per se, but the point is that at least the 25% penal tariff, there's 25% reciprocal, 25% penal tariff because of the Russian oil. You can knock that off, right? That's the hope, and the point is. Think about it. I mean, trade delegations, ministry to ministry kind of talks, bureaucrats talking to each other, and that goes up the regular channel. I mean, the Commerce Department in the US, the Commerce Ministry here, and eventually it'll rise up to the at a ministerial level, and then they talk. Cutting through all of that, you've got someone here who presumably, as we understand, and people like Ashok Malik, who are policy veterans, have told us, who has direct access, who can pick up the phone and talk to the president. I mean, if you heard Howard Lutnick, the Commerce Secretary, saying,
exactly,
what did he say? He said, well, he called me the greatest table setter. There was a bit of bombast there. But at the end of the day, he said, well, it's his deal. Correct. It's President Trump's deal, right? Correct. It's him. So if it is him who's got to sign off, and remember, guys, I mean, since September, October, this is around the time of the festive season, etc. Markets were seriously anticipating this deal. I mean, it was almost as if it's coming,
Yeah.
If you remember, I jokingly, but half jokingly called Gokuldas exports as this indicator, the India-US deal. I mean, that had gone to about 1,200. Yeah. And there were serious, and Bihar elections, and then it became after Bihar elections. So the anticipation was that it's there. I mean, the document is there. And now it needs President Trump to come up and sign off on it. Now, if that is the case, now this is, of course, all what we gather by speaking with people across, and Parikshit can come in as well. But if it's his deal, and you have someone here who can talk to this person directly and communicate what India, instead of going through the bureaucratic channels, which takes a much longer.
I think the pace will be faster than what.
Faster. I think he said somewhere, right? President Trump likes to call up people at
2 a.m. Yeah.
That'll work well for us with the time difference, etc. Right?
But that's exactly what I wanted to bring up. That the U.S. Commerce Secretary, that's what really shook sentiment a little bit as well. His comments on the All In podcast. We probably missed the opportunity, or the timing wasn't correct in terms of making the call. So I think a lot of that, all of those concerns seem to be assuaged at this point in time.
Yeah, but I heard that, right, and that gives some context, etc. in terms of that's their claim, first of all. Yeah. But what I took away from it is that if it is about a phone call, that what does he say? He says, well, we didn't call. Well, if you have, so now we're talking about another call, but this time from Gore to President Trump. Yeah. So it is about calling first or second or third. I mean, if that is the disagreement or whatever, right? I mean, it can be solved. It is not as if it can't be solved. I'm not saying that anything is imminent.
Yeah.
But the point
It's
is...
just that it gives a larger perspective that,
Yeah.
you know, the relationship is much stronger and that, you know, we'll probably get past this hurdle of the
No,
tariff.
he's saying all things which he's supposed to say. I mean, that is what we have to remember that,
Yeah.
right? I mean, he's in India, he's the US ambassador to India, and he's going to say all of that.
Yeah.
But as I said, he's also saying all of this at a time when relations are, which he well recognizes. I mean, I don't think he'll say any of it if his boss, President Trump, etc., he'd be careful about saying, I mean, if there is serious antagonism and, I mean, no intention of doing a deal, etc., right? So he's obviously saying, and he's supposed to say it, but I think he's also, it becomes doubly important because of the time that he's saying it. And I think he's very well aware of what he's doing.
And I
Time
think
is right because...
Markets are reacting to that as well. But of course, the point is that we still are in a wait and watch mode. We have to see how these deals progress or the talks progress going forward as well.
And
With that,
significant recovery, I want to point out in the bank Nifty. In fact, it's up around 0.3% now. So we are significantly in the green when it comes to the bank Nifty. The mid caps have recovered. We have the Nifty, in fact, which is now trading in the green. So important comments which have come in.
I'll tell you, the 20s, I don't know if you can pull it up, the weekly 26,000 call, this is the Tuesday expiry, was at $4 when in the morning. It's at 14 now. Right?
Wow.
So there is, of course, I mean, because prices have moved and it's so close to expiry tomorrow, there was time erosion, etc. But this is significant. This is, I would say, positive that you have someone like that here in India. And he was very positive when he visited and met Prime Minister Modi, etc. He will meet the president, present his credentials, etc., as is, protocol. And so, yeah, all that will happen. But I think it's, I don't see a negative. I mean, we've been from an extremely negative sort of state as far as market sentiment, etc. I think this is a step into the positive kind of direction. How much, etc., how much can you build on it? All of that, of course, will depend on this next call that he's talking about. So, next call does not mean trade deal, to say once again, obviously. But I think markets well recognize that. And they think that at least, I mean, you've got someone close to President Trump who's here and who'll be able to pick up the phone if needed and communicate India's side clearly and talk to and level with the president.
We have a friend in India.
Yeah, let's hope so. Absolutely.
Okay, that is all about what the comments came in, and in that much time we saw around Nifty from 25,500 to 25,000, almost 700 right now is what we're watching out for. On that note, we're going to sip into a very short break and more on stock-specific action after the break.
welcome back. Well, a big recovery is what we are tracking in the market. So let's understand the technicals now and what the outlook is going forward. Sudeep Shah, Head of Technical and Derivative Research at SBI Securities, is joining in now. Sudeep, a while back when the markets were lower, Magnam was just telling us how the put-call ratio is at 0.6. And suddenly after those comments, it has changed the way markets have moved. What are the charts suggesting now? Where do these ratios lie? And what is the next important point now? Because this has basically risen on a positive sentiment. Is this something which could continue in terms of the charts and the trends going forward?
Good afternoon, Sonal. Sonal, what we've seen in the last 4 or 5 days is that the markets have cracked specifically on those negative comments from the US side. And this is the first positive comment that has come after 7-8 sessions now. And after a big fall in the last few days, especially in the small and mid cap. So what I feel is that, yes, this could act as a positive trigger. There could be a lot of volatility even throughout the day today. So dips towards 25,630, 25,650. I feel it should be used as an opportunity to go long. Keep a stop at 25,530. That is where we feel that there could be a support. On the upside, the first level that indices could retest now is 25,800. And in case we close above that, then 26,000 zone can be a potential recovery zone. So 25,530, 25,550, I feel is an important support on Nifty. Similarly, on the bank Nifty, 58,900, 59,000 now remains an important support. And we feel that above 59,650, 59,700, bank Nifty could stage a faster recovery up to 60,300 levels.
Okay, all right. Specific stocks, what would you recommend, Sudeep, in such a market? Because it is volatile. We did start off weak, we've recovered. But what's your sense in terms of how you'd approach stocks?
Couple of them. One is BSC. Now, since opening today, the stock has shown good traction. It is now above 7-8 days highs. And what we're seeing is that 2700 now becomes an important support here. So this can be bought with a stop loss at 2720. The potential upside could be around 2900, 2930 in the coming weeks. The second stock that is on our radar is SAIL, Steel Authority of India Limited. So here we have seen last week there was a big move from 135 till 152. Then there was a throwback up to a support zone of 143. And today exactly from that support zone, there is a rebound. So the SAIL also can be bought with a stop loss at 144 for a target of 155 on the upside.
Okay, Sudeep, thank you so much for joining in this afternoon and talking to us about the markets as well as individual stock names. On that note, we're going to step into a very short break. On the other side, Manisha Gupta will join us for a conversation on commodity, and with her will be Surendra Mehta, Secretary of Indian Bullion and Jewelers Association. Stay tuned in.
Welcome back, and joining us on the show now is Surendra Mehta. He's Secretary, India Bullion and Jewelers Association. Mr. Mehta, hi, thank you so much for joining in. First of all, your sense on prices itself. Almost everybody seems to be losing sense on what is happening into the markets, the way we really seem to be breaking levels on the higher side. And the global banks and brokerages revising their targets for 2026 all the time. Another day, another all-time high. What's your sense?
Well, Manisha, I've been continuously saying on your show that gold is heading for $4,900 and silver heading for $95. See why they are heading at such a higher level, only because of geopolitical tension rising in Iran, Venezuela, Greenland, also the weak job data. Not only this, the higher tariff being planned by US government, and finally today's news, which was a politically motivated news regarding investigation on the Fed chairman. So all these news are leading to higher gold prices and higher silver prices. And I don't see this would stop at any time soon, because there is a lot to be done by the US to ensure that these prices do not go up and they actually recover through their equity markets or other markets.
Well, absolutely, Mr. Mehta. All the news reports that you mentioned is something that we've been talking since morning as well. But the price action, where do you see that coming from? Is it more about physical buying right now? Is it paper buying? The COMEX markets clearly seem to be running. China, not so much right now. So where do you see most of this buying coming from?
I think as far as gold is concerned, there is a lot of ETF buying happening. In India also, we have seen a big jump in ETF. And as far as silver is concerned, there is a physical buying of silver across the world, including China, Dubai. Today also, Dubai is quoting almost $3 premium on silver. Iran is quoting about $2 premium on silver. So where are we heading? In India also, if you convert MCX commodity prices, the gold is quoting higher by almost 1,200 rupees and silver is quoting higher by almost 6,000 rupees. So if converted to in dollar terms, the gold is almost higher by $40 and silver is almost higher by about $2.5 to $3. So I don't think that there would be any correction in near future. There can be a small correction, but not a great correction of say 10% or 20%. I do not see this correction initially.
And you would expect buying on all of these corrections?
Come again, I did not hear you.
I said you expect buying in all of these corrections?
I think every dip is a buying opportunity, because unless we get a clearer picture as to what US actually wants to do, and then only I think the gold and silver prices can go down. China comes out very clearly why they are restricting the export of silver. Russia come out very clearly about their oil holding and gold holding. And I don't think any of this country are currently negotiating with each other. India has always been the price taker for gold and silver also to some extent. So I don't see any role being played by India in respect of discovery of these prices. We are price takers, not price discoverers. And I think as long as China, Russia, and US don't agree on certain terms, the prices would continue to rise.
You mentioned 4,900 for gold. What's your sense on silver?
Silver, I feel that my first target for silver would be $95. And if we cross $95 in, say, next 60 days or maybe 90 days, then my next target for silver would be about $110.
All right. How are you looking at the Indian physical demand in the meanwhile? You talked about on what we are doing in China, in Russia, etc. For Indian markets, is it still a lot of physical buying? The import numbers, of course, would come in pretty soon for gold and silver, both in India for 2025. But what is your own sense?
Well, the imports are getting reduced. As far as gold is concerned, imports are getting reduced, and there is no physical demand of jewelry. The physical demand of jewelry is down by almost 35 to 40% now. The retailers are waiting to see the buyers. They are not coming unless they are the forced buyers because of marriages or some celebration in their house. Otherwise, there is no real demand. But as far as silver is concerned, there is a lot of demand, silver demand. The demand in terms of coins and bars and bullion, in terms of gold and silver, is pretty high. I think gold bullion demand is almost up by 18 to 20%, and silver bullion demand is rising day by day.
All right. So physical buying when it comes to investment in gold and silver is on a rise, but jewelry demand clearly slightly on a weaker note there. People are buying not for wearing it, but for investment with the way they are getting return on their investments there. Mr. Mehta, as always, thank you so much for joining in and making sense of the price moves therein. With that, let's slip into a short break. On the other side, we'll get you more on markets and stock specifics.
Welcome back. Well, good recovery for the market. So currently we have the Nifty at around 25,700. If you want to put it into perspective, we've recovered 247 odd points from the day's low. The low point of the day in today's trading session was 25,470. So it's been a smart and cool recovery post the comments which came in from the US ambassador to India, indicating that maybe there could be some amount of positivity when it comes to the trade agreements or maybe conversations around that. But nonetheless, we do have the Bank Nifty, which is actually speeding ahead. So we have the Bank Nifty, which is up around 0.4%, along with the mid caps, which have recovered from the day's low, but still some way to go for the mid caps to possibly push into the green. The advanced decline ratio, as you can see, has recovered from the get-go. So after those comments came in, and that advanced decline ratio graph should come up for you, and that should give you a sense in terms of what it's looking like at this point in time. Well, on that note, it is a wrap on Halftime Report, but stay tuned. Business Lunch will take all of the action ahead.